Hey, thanks for tuning in. So, this week we're talking about the seller's confidence. This is important because it's a concept where buyers are bidding for the attention of the seller, right? In a competitive market, right, you're looking at homes that are receiving multiple offers. And the question is, how do we make our offer stand out just beyond price? So, when we're considering factors beyond price, it's really important that we're talking about our perception as the buying party from the seller. Like, are we submitting our documents on time? Are we previewing the house? Are we communicating with the selling agent? Are we, writing a letter to the seller to build a connection? Are we seeing the house multiple times? Right? So there's a lot of factors that go into showing interest. And it's a lot more than just going to the house, right? It's communicating to the agent, look, I'm serious, and you're asking engaging questions about, say, the disclosures or the reports or anything that came up to let the seller know that you're in, right? Because you don't want to be that buyer who kind of just sees the house once, submits an offer, the disclosures aren't signed, and you're just like, there's no letter, and you're just like, here's my number. And so the seller's like, who are you? Right? And granted, yeah, the number is cool, but if it's competitive, like, what's making you stand out? So when we're talking about the seller's confidence, we're talking about winning the trust of the seller, right? Because from the seller's perspective, the last thing they want is a transaction to fall through midway, right? So assume we get into contract, something goes sideways, we disagree with the reports, the lender isn't able to close or whatever variant of a transaction falling through. That's like a nightmare scenario for all parties. Not has only everybody's time been wasted, but now the seller has to go find a new buyer. The home has sat on the market for additional X amount of days, and they run that risk of the home losing value just by virtue of the home sitting on the market, right? The home becomes less competitive when you're starting to see a home that's been on the market for 30 days, 45 days. That just doesn't look as a fresh listing. So that kind of brings a concern to the seller that they've lost a competitive advantage, right? So that's why we want to completely avoid a transaction falling through. So when we're talking about the seller's confidence, right, we're there to show our support and us being on the same page when it comes to closing the transaction. Sometimes buyers will think it's a seller versus buyer kind of negotiation, but that's actually not true at all, right? Both the selling party and the buying party are on the same team, they're on the same boat, right? They're all working towards a goal of getting the house, transitioned. The seller's moving out for their own reason and the buyer's moving in for their own reason. No one wants this to, not happen because, we selected a buyer, they still, the buyer has found a home. We want to move forward. So as the buyer, we want to let them know, let the seller know that's what we're there for, right? We're not here to play games. We're going to write a super clean offer, right? Of course, depending on the contingencies in your situation, it's going to, that's going to boil down to how we're going to offer. But we're going to offer, obviously above list price. It's got to be competitive, right? We want our lender, if you're using a lender, to call. We want to, confirm your financial strength because we don't want any guessing from the seller. Like, can they afford the house? Is their lender qualified? Like, are they are they gonna close? Have they done this before? Because you don't want to run into this situation where the lender's not doing their job, right? They're not, locking in the rate, or we want to avoid all these kind of like little accidents that can hang up a transaction. So as you enter the real estate market, it's really important that you get your ducks in a line before you take action. You don't want to jump the gun and not be ready, because if you see this house that you like and you go all in and you put an offer in and you're competitive and you're doing this and that, and then midway through you get cold feet, buyer remorse it happens. But you have to understand that you got to be certain. So when I work with my clients, I make sure that they are certain, they're ready to go. Life has aligned to bring them to this house, right? If there's any sort of hesitation in terms of finance, life, or your employment, it's okay to wait. You don't want to rush yourself into a situation that could be financially taxing for you, because a home is expensive, right? You got the down payment, and you're probably going up in monthly payments, right? You're probably moving into a place that you're excited for, and you want to celebrate that move together. So it's important that everything lines up. You don't want to sour this move by not being financially ready or mentally or emotionally ready, because it's a big deal. So these are just some of the things that go into buying in the Bay Area, well, anywhere really. And it's just important that we make sure that we're communicating to the seller that we're here to play, we're serious, and we're gonna close, right? If your agent is not communicating that to the seller, the selling party is gonna be like, who are you, right? And like, are you able to like get this done? Because if you're not, I'm gonna go find someone else that will. And that's the kind of situation that we want to avoid, because if that's the situation, that means you're not getting your dream home. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll definitely be talking to you guys next week. Thanks.